To explain what this means for second home owners is Jason Haber from Compass and co-founder of the American Real Estate Association. Jason, great to see you again.
Good to see you. It's like Groundhog's Day all over again, but I'm counting down to Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, we're almost there. I read a report that this affects 14,000 properties, this proposed tax here in New York City. So is this really going to help the affordability crisis in New York City, or is this proposed tax largely symbolic?
No, zero. In fact, I would argue the reverse, because if developers build less, that means there's less construction jobs, which are good paying jobs, and those are union jobs that then get lost, and this hurts in the downstream economy. We want people investing in this city, not just for buying apartments, but because when they're here, they buy stuff, right? They go out to dinner, they experience the city, and when they're not here, they're not using city services. So they're not a tax on police, fire, ambulatory, but instead we're going to tax them.
So you're talking long term and how that's going to affect us here, but the mayor is saying that doing this right away, getting this pushed through, would bring about $500 million in revenue to fill that tax gap. What are your thoughts on that?
So right now it's fuzzy math because they haven't unveiled the proposal yet. I think they haven't unveiled it because this is so complicated. They're not sure exactly how this would run. I know we just brought 4 people back to the moon, so anything's possible from the moon and back. I know anything's possible, but look, this is very complicated. We have to deal with the assessed values, how it's reported, condos, co-ops. This is a very complicated tax to figure out, and they're ramming it through. This was just announced.
Yeah.
They're trying to get it voted
Yeah,
on
I
quickly.
want to talk about that because when you look at the fine print, according to reports, a lot of the city's multi-million-dollar homes could actually slip through this tax.
That's right.
Why is that?
Well, listen, I sold an apartment for $70 million a few years ago. It wouldn't be considered because of the way the assessment works in the city. So to do this off of assessed value would probably require a wholesale recomputation of how we do property assessment, which, by the way, is only going to make the city more expensive for, say, homeowners in Astoria. Is that what we want to do right now? I don't know how you implement this otherwise, unless you self-report it. Do you look at the sale price and not the assessed price? These are all things we're waiting to hear from Albany.
What are your thoughts on how the mayor went about announcing this via social media, pointing to Ken Griffin's penthouse that was $200 and something million? But Ken Griffin pushed back on this. He's very upset and talking about maybe not even building a tower that he wanted to in Midtown because he was upset about how he was singled out.
Yeah, first, in this day and age, we shouldn't be making politics that personal. I don't think it was appropriate. But also, you're talking about someone who's donated hundreds of millions of dollars to New York City charities and who pays hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. And by the way, that very building where Ken Griffin lives, that was built by good-paying union jobs. And if Ken Griffin's not buying those apartments, developers aren't going to build them, and that's going to hurt the economy.
And this is an idea that was floated to New York City before.
That's right.
Why did it fail back then?
So before it was a marathon where we had several months to work this out with legislators and make the case against it. Now it's a sprint. Out of nowhere, this was announced at the very last minute. The budget, as we just heard in the last segment, is late, and the goal is to ram this through as soon as they get a budget done. So the governor now supports it. The legislature is on board. That spells success, that this will likely happen.
Sure.
Unless they can't figure out the math behind it, which we'll see.
Well, I feel like a lot of city agencies can't figure out the math, even once they get approval to do so.
Yeah, that's fair, too. That's fair.
But moving forward, it seems like this is going to happen.
Well, yeah, and it's also, you know, this is election year politics. The governor gets to raise taxes without raising taxes on a single voter, because if you're registered here, you're primaried here, and you're not subject to the Pied-a-terre tax.
Well, we got to leave the conversation there. Jason Haber, thank you so much for joining us.
You got it.